Good afternoon. My name is Melinda Lawler Scrady, and I serve Sacred Heart Cathedral as its president.
And I'm Gary Cannon, and I serve Sacred Heart Cathedral as principal.
Sister Frances Meyer, Brother John Hoover have joined us to begin the prayer in presenting to the school today the DePaul project called the DePaul Lobby Gallery.
Let us remember
that we are in the
Holy presence of God. There are two basic kinds of yokes that can be used to bear a burden, single ones and shared ones. The single ones are very efficient. By placing a yoke across the shoulders and fitting buckets hung from poles on each side, human beings can carry almost as much as donkeys. They will tire easily, and they will have to sit down to rest, and their shoulders will ache all of the time. Their backs may even give out. But still, it is possible to move great loads from one place to another using a single creature and a single yoke.
a shared yoke works quite differently. It requires twice as many creatures for one thing, but if they are a well-matched pair, they can work all day, because under a shared yoke, one can rest a little while the other pulls. They can take turns bearing the brunt of the load. They can cover for each other without ever laying their burden down because their yoke is a shared one. They have company all day long, and when the day is done, both may be tired, but neither is exhausted, because they are a team.
Plenty of us labor under the illusion that our yokes are single yokes, that we have got to go at it alone, and that the only way to please God is to load ourselves down with heavy requirements, good deeds, pure thoughts, blameless lives, and perfect obedience. All those rules we make and make and break, while all the time Jesus is standing right there in front of us, half of a shared yoke across his own shoulders, the other half wide open, waiting for us, a yoke that requires no more than we step into it and become part of a team.
Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. No wonder those words have weathered the centuries so well. No wonder they are still music to our ears. They assure us that those who please God are not those who carry the heaviest loads, but those who are willing to share their loads, who are willing to share their yokes by entering into relationship with the one whose invitation is a standing one. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light.
St. Louise de Marillac.
Pray
for us.
St. Elizabeth Ann Seton.
Pray for us.
St. Jean-Baptiste de La Salle.
Pray for us.
St. Vincent de Paul.
Pray for us.
Live Jesus in our hearts.
Forever.
And now I introduce to you, very proud graduate and head of the DePaul project team, Mr. Frank Rollo from the class of 1958.
I am practicing safe distancing, so I'm going to take my mask off so that you can see my wonderful smile and my enthusiasm for this wonderful space that's been created by a fantastic team. Somebody's pointing at me, but that's okay. In this unprecedented time, we are the only high school that created an educational space of this kind and size. The major features of this marvelous space are 4,000 square feet of controlled, temperature-controlled, fully lit, bright, and airy space that's very uplifting. I mean, I wish all of you were here to see this because it's marvelous. Just the wood paneling and the floor and the piano keys that people refer to as slats on the ceiling. The flooring is of high quality and it's suitable for dancing. And the president and the principal of the school have indicated that they're going to do the first dance on the floor once the students return. Behind me is a fully wired welcome desk in the center of the lobby. It allows the campus safety team to greet all guests who enter, improving campus security. We would not have this space if it were not for a collaboration of gifted people who invested time, energy, enthusiasm to create this finish. I want to mention a few. There's the architect, Interstice. They're represented today by Andrew Dunbar. Ron Case couldn't be here, and most of you know Ron Case. Ron has been involved in the design and construction of most of the major projects on this campus for 30 years. The library, the Student Life Center, the Sister Carolyn Collins Theater, the choir or chorus room, and now this lobby. And he's brought his creativity to all these wonderful structures. Guzman Construction, represented by Manny and Ben. Manny was the superintendent on the project, and he is a very enthusiastic young man. Delight to work with. Manny was your typical project manager. When is the schedule going to be met? What's this, et cetera, et cetera. So they balanced each other really well. Miguel, as most of you know, is the president of Guzman Construction. And as usual, I suspect he's late at any function that he comes to here at the school. And he's late today, so I can't acknowledge him. Is he shown up?
Steve Bowers.
But then there's the team that Guzman put together, the contractors. There was Paganini Electric, and these guys were all alumni of the school. Paganini Electric, ARB Mechanical, Kevin Buckley standing over there, Mike Van Bemmel, who was responsible for the millwork that you see, did a marvelous job. In addition, there's a guy behind me, Steve Bauer. Steve is in charge of construction and real estate for the Archdiocese. Fortunately, we had him to rely on to assist us to get through the bureaucracy of the Archdiocese, but more importantly, I've known him for a long time and have been able to call upon him for his knowledge of construction and just his common sense. And a lot of that came into play here. There's one other person that I want to acknowledge, and you all know him, and that's Mr. Keith, Eric Keith. Eric is the director of campus operations, and he was blessed and fortunate enough to be called upon by the president to be the liaison between the contractor and the school. And he was here every day working with Manny and Ben, bringing up as the issues came up. If he couldn't address them, he could either call upon me or Melinda, and we got things resolved, and we got things resolved in a timely manner so that the work was able to be completed on a somewhat accelerated schedule and allowed us to stand here today. I want to close by making a comment. I don't know if you realize this, but 10 years ago this week, the Sister Collins Performing Arts Theater was dedicated. We celebrated that dedication by having a supportive, enthusiastic member of the Sacred Heart Cathedral family perform a piano piece. Today, 10 years later, you can't see it, but her name was engraved on the A-flat keys of the slab.
No, A flat.
A-flat, excuse me, A-flat, thank you. And I am so pleased now to ask Claire Spencer to come up and celebrate the opening of this marvelous space.
And so, dear community, we thank you for joining us in this prayer. We're grateful to you for the love you have for Sacred Heart Cathedral. And Mrs. Spencer, Claire, represents hundreds of people who invest in the school every year through blood, sweat, and tears, their heart, their volunteerism. And as we face the future together, know that we know it is a very bright future. We trust in God. Our yoke is easy. Our burden is light. God bless you all. This concludes our presentation to the school of the DePaul Lobby and Gallery. Thank you, dear daughters, and thank you, dear brothers, for providing the vision for us to fulfill.